Greetings! I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today is, again, the day of the asking of the Herbert Erpaderp. That is to say, this is Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, which really shouldn't come as a surprise if you've read the title. First up, I would like to say a very big thank you to our two newest patrons. Smoes, who I'm sure will be familiar to most of you, and Poet Marah, who I recognise from some of the awesome Twitch streams that I frequent. Thank you both very much for your support, it's very appreciated. If the mood strikes you, you may ask an Ask a Herbert Erpaderp question in your own voice, that being one of the perks of being a patron. If you would like to be awesome and become a patron, and help Herbert Erpaderp not starve, or if you prefer to help Herbert Erpaderp starve, somehow, there's a link below. For all my patrons, also thank you, keep an eye out for a poll around some GHQ tanks soon. Once again, thank you very much Smoes and Poet Marah. In other news, let's get to the questions. Muse said, if you had to move to any US state, which one would it be and why? I would really prefer not to, but I guess the question does say that I have to. I don't know. My knowledge of the US states and what they are like is kind of limited, having not been there of course. But I guess I would choose Oregon or maybe California, mostly because that would put me closest to friends in the US, and mostly Canada, that I would really like to be able to visit easily. Also, maybe I could cross the border to get insulin without going into massive debt. Martin Gotham said, which captain from Star Trek would you serve under? I think were Starfleet real, I wouldn't have a choice, but I think if I could choose, it would be Sisko. It seems like he would be a really good leader, the kind that would be on the front lines with you and things like that. Trekan Beluvic said, do you think your mice gave you a name? If so, what would it be? If it was the mice giving me a name, I don't think it would be something I'd get to choose. Probably something along the lines of giant scary thing that appears at the same time as food appears. Digital Rocket said, what's the strangest gimmick you've seen in a kit? I.e. motorised spinny thing or a small speaker. I don't think I've really seen a kit with a gimmick. I mean, not a strange one anyway. I guess maybe you could count stuff like photo etch for the sake of photo etch to be a gimmick, maybe? And I guess the Iron Maiden and Motorhead related plane kits that you see are kind of a gimmick, though that's more awesome than strange. So I guess none really is the answer. Muse said, are you an iFunny user? Nope, I don't really know anything about iFunny, but I suspect it might not really be relevant to my interests. It seems a bit like 9gag or something dumb like that. Oktoberfest said, do you think people wearing face masks in cars is stupid during this epidemic? I guess it depends on the situation really. If it's an Uber driver or something like that, it doesn't seem like a bad idea really. If it's just somebody driving along by themselves, I think it might be a bit too much. I guess unless you live in the US, in which case you want to do absolutely everything you can to protect yourself. Seems kinda fucked over there. Smoes said, do you use an inventory app for keeping track of your paint, like Hobby Colors Converter for Android? I have done in the past, but I didn't really find it useful. I never remember to keep it updated, and it's a bit of a pain to do the initial adding of all the paints that I own. If it were all automated, that kind of thing would be fantastic, because I'm super forgetful, but that kind of thing isn't really practical. It would probably involve some kind of electronics being installed in paints, which would obviously increase the price. To me, those apps seem like a good idea, but end up being a bit more management for no real gain, if that makes sense. Trekan Beluvic said, have you heard of the Minotaur Wunderland, sometimes called Model Lessenbahn Wunderland, in Hamburg, Germany? If so, would it be a place you would like to visit? I'm pretty sure that I've seen videos about it and I would absolutely love to visit. That would be wonderful. I guess that's why they call it a Wunderland. Also, my German accent is terrible. Sneaky Zaku said, you are the new head of requisitions for a newly formed nation's armoured vehicle pool in the 1940s. Congrats! You have been tasked with building up their army by selecting vehicles the army will use in the light/cavalry, medium/infantry, heavy tank, tank destroyers, and self-propelled guns. The catch? You're a spy trying to sabotage the army before your true allegiances declare war. What tanks do you give them for the roles to sabotage them? That's an interesting idea. I guess the best thing would be to order the worst possible tanks, so we're not going to give them things like KV-2s or Bob samples. That would be ridiculous. I'm actually a bit too exhausted to come up with a full set of tanks and stuff like that for each role, so how about we just order a bunch of British Valiants? I think that was the A38? I hear it was quite a good, yes comrade, is good tank. Very universal tank for all kind of role. I don't know why we're going with that accent, but we are, even though it's awful. Possibly Alfarius said, you can now only build and paint models of a certain category, example infantry figures, cars, trains, tanks, etc. Which category do you choose? Tanks. That's an easy choice really. There's a good variety of tanks to choose from, and they are one of the subjects that I'm most interested in. Though I would still prefer not to be restricted at all. Who wants restrictions? Ratto said, which one is stronger? Your will to paint whatever you want, or the power that limits your painting to a single category? Definitely my will to paint whatever I want. You may have noticed that I'm pretty strong-willed in regards to doing what I want. Also, I'm a rebel. I do what I want. SpaceFan247 said, have you seen Death of Stalin? It's on Netflix in the US now, so maybe you have it. It's really good. I haven't seen it. Also, I neither have Netflix or live in the US, but it actually seems to be on Prime Video for me, which I do have. And I've added it to my watch later thing, so maybe I'll check it out sometime. I'm not much of a movie watcher really, but it is always nice to have the option. In the comment section of last fortnight's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, Kieran Keith said, 2 weeks again? I thought Ask a Herbert Erpaderp was last week. I'm losing track. I know that feeling. I've been sick recently and slept a lot, and that's totally ruined my concept of time, in addition to everything else that's happening in the world. When I was editing together the most recent stream highlights video, I would have sworn that some of the clips were from months ago. Shit's messed up, yo. TOFM Drone said, John Rhys Davies should play Herbert Erpaderp. Resemble is uncanny. It's not as perfect a match as Jason Momoa, but I can kind of see it. I approve. Jan Tima said, any tips for a beginning World of Tanks player? I don't know, not really. Not if you want to be all serious business about it at least, and if that's the case I'm definitely the wrong person to ask for advice. If you've seen any of my streams you'll know that I'm really bad at the game, but that's okay, I enjoy playing it anyway. Maybe somebody like Quickie Baby is better for gameplay advice. If there's any World of Tanks fans watching, that's probably really upset about half of them, for some reason. My advice would be to have fun with it, shoot at the bad guys, do as many sick jumps as you can, and ignore the people who get all angry about win rate and things like that. Which I guess is to say, don't take it too seriously. It's just a game. If you start getting frustrated at it, it probably means it's time to do something else for a bit. After someone was requesting it last time, Fog of War said, the Zvezda M3 Lee was the very first video for Fog of War. In fact, I launched the channel early to get that review out. Which isn't really a question, but you should definitely go and check it out. In fact, you should check out all of Fog of War's videos. They're very good. And that's it for the questions. Let's have a look at some of the models that have been shared on Discord over the last couple of weeks. First up, Smoes has shared this 1/72nd scale Spitfire Mark 9 B/C flown by Group Captain Beta. The model is from Forces of Valor, and Smoes says that it isn't the best kit, but it was an enjoyable build. It's intended for a diorama to be named The Pilots Just Fly the Planes, and I think it's quite nice work. Major General Bunk has shared a pair of Australian infantry figures from the Airfix 1/72nd scale figures set. I don't know if posting this on Anzac Day was intentional, but let's just say that it was. Very nice work. The Vika has made a custom AVRE for their Team Yankee force. This is based on a 100th scale Vietnam Centurion, presumably from Battlefront. This is the Vika's favourite from War Thunder, and they thought, why not bring it into their favourite war game? Why not indeed? What a good idea. The Vika also made this custom sun umbrella for their Team Yankee Australian Leopard 1, with convenient magnetisation. I'm always entertained seeing tanks with umbrellas. I mean, it makes perfect sense really, but it's still entertaining. Flak Panzer OST shared this M8 motor carriage, which I've always thought looks kind of odd with that gun, in an interesting way, of course. This is a 1/35th scale model from Tamiya, and it's been painted pretty nicely with some worn-off winter whitewash. Very cool. The Derpy KV2 shared this marder in a tree, which, well, that's pretty normal for marders, isn't it? They climb trees to get a good vantage point while hunting. Once their prey has been killed, they carefully climb down and feed. Nice pictures of a nice model. I'm not sure what scale or manufacturer it is, but what matters is it looks good and is pretty nicely painted. I like the camo pattern, particularly the brown bits around the green splotches. Well done. Tankman88 shared this excellent looking Humvee. The model is in 1/35th scale by Tamiya, and the camo net is made from medical gauze. It's always nice to see how resourceful modelers can be. Good job. And that's it for the modelling this fortnight. Thank you to everybody who's shared their modelling on Discord, even if it hasn't been shared here. I do get quite a lot of inspiration from the modelling channel, so thank you. If you would like to see everything shared in that channel, or maybe even share some of your own modelling work, there's a link to Discord in the description below. Also, thank you to everybody who asked a question. That's what makes this Ask a Herbert Erpaderp after all. And another very big thank you to our newest patrons, Smoes and Poet Marora. I appreciate you all. Ask a Herbert Erpaderp will return in 2 weeks, but there will of course be other videos and streams before then, so I hope to see you there. If you've not done so already, why not subscribe, follow, ring the bell, become a patron or YouTube member, or just come say hi on Discord or Twitch. Links to all of my things are in the description below, and as always, I shall return soon, so until then, be excellent to each other, and thank you for watching. Farewell.